I has gold. So I wanted a reason to use the Millennium Puzzle Prop again. Puzzle Prop. So this is not a Yu-Gi-Oh video. I still need to do that. I still need to do the Yu-Gi-Oh video. It's just like the Millennium Puzzle that I finally put together. Well, I put this together shortly after I got it, but still. But no, I do need to do a Yu-Gi-Oh video, but this is not a Yu-Gi-Oh video. This is another One Piece video, another one of my One Piece reunions, as in like going through with the different characters that the Straw Hats have met along the way, or at least the ones that I really liked. And having, what's going to happen when the Straw Hats see them again. If that happens, whether or not that happens one way or another, we'll see. Some of them are, like, assured, like, Luffy is probably going to meet Dragon at some point in time. The Straw Hats are probably going to end up getting reunited with Vivi at some point, one way or another. Different things like that. Like, there are certain ones that are just like, oh, that's probably definitely going to happen. We just don't know when yet. But in this case, this is going to be the third one in the series, and this is going to be me going through the kind of the second half of the Paradise groups. So who they interacted with after Alabasta, because the first one was about the East Blue people that they might re-interact with at some point in time when they get when they get reunited with them, and then the second one was the first part of Paradise. So all the way from like Crocus and Laboon all the way up through Alabasta. So this one is going to be basically like Jaya on through Sabaody. And then I'm gonna break the and then I am gonna do two other videos where I do the where all the Straw Hats are like split apart and everything for like the people that they meet during that time frame, like do different discussion videos on like just some of the ones that they interacted with during those time frame, just because I like those. So this one is going to be about the second half of Paradise. So we're going to start off with one of the characters that I actually really like in One Piece, and that I would like us if we saw more of him, saw a little bit more of him, was Mont Blanc Cricket, who is of course the descendant of Mont Blanc Nolan. And he is of course the kind of a deep sea diving archaeologist, myth chaser, type character. Him and the two kind of ape-looking guys, Masira and Shoujo, I think are their names. So we see them, and of course we're introduced to them at Jaya, and Cricket has been searching all over for like any hint or any sign of what could be left of the City of Gold, trying to, prove that his ancestor Nolan was not lying and everything. And I really like that arc that we have there on Jaya. We have the whole interactions with like Bellamy and everything. And we've had kind of the, Luffy's, reunion with Bellamy and Dressrosa and everything. So I'm not really going to talk about Bellamy, of course. And the rest of Bellamy's crew is dead. So yeah. But so we're introduced to Cricket and everything, and like the Straw Hats help him, and he kind of tells them about the City of Gold, about Shandia, and like the concept of like what Skypiea is and everything. Like he talks to them about that and does the explanation and everything. It's like, oh well, that sounds really cool. And they're just like, he's like, let's go to the Sky Island and everything. And of course that's they get the Sunny the Going Merry all fitted and everything to go up to Sky Island. And kind of what we see is, of course, the gist of what happens is they go up to the Sky Island after they help Cricket and everything, and then Luffy goes and gets his gold back that was stolen by Bellamy and then returns it to him. And then they head up to the Sky Island, and Cricket and his his little alliance with the two brothers, after everything happens on Skypiea, and Luffy rings the bell, kind of with Eneru's head, rings the bell with Eneru, and they hear the golden bell and everything, and like they know that okay, it is still there. Like they see kind of like Luffy's silhouette in the sky, kind of showing that yes, this worked, this was real, it is real up here. And then they go off to to start trying to figure out their new goal in life, which is they start searching for Nakroa, who is the island of dreams or whatever. So it's just like they've gone off and done that. So we get like we see them like in some of the cover pages every now and then when they get like the serials, like getting updates on seeing what's going on with the Straw Hats because they would like still recognize the Straw Hats and be like, yeah, of course that's them. Kind of keeping up on like Luffy's adventures and everything. So we've seen that, but we don't really see that much else of them at this point in time. After everything's all finished, there's whole thing of just well, one of the Straw Hats, probably Robin, possibly Usopp, might write a book, and maybe that'll be like the true history, and like he'll explain that no, Nolan was not a liar and everything, and like that'll be like some redemption for like Cricket's family and everything. So there'll be that possibly. And I don't necessarily think that the Straw Hats are ever going to end up reuniting with like Cricket specifically, simply just because of the fact of I don't see that happening. I would like that to happen, but the one reunion that I do want to see, though, and that kind of goes into the second group that I'll have on this list, is I would love it if Cricket got to meet Wiper, because that is Nolan's descendant meeting Kalgara's descendant. I would love that. I know that there's lots of fan art of like the two of them finally meeting. And like finding out that, oh, your ancestor was like this person, and like having that whole like that the promise was fulfilled on both sides, that Nolan's descendant didn't stop looking, and that Kalgara's descendant rang the bell to fulfill the prophecy, not the prophecy, but fulfill the promise that was made, and that now like they're two, they carried on their ancestors' will, the inherited will. But so it's just like I don't necessarily think they're gonna see Cricket again, but I would like them to at least just like stop by the island, and like they can like give him more information about like oh, well, this is really what we found at up in up on the Sky Island, and we found the other half of Jaya, and just like tell him the whole story and everything, like find out what happened. That would be nice to have done. Like just have the Straw Hats stop by and do that at some point, like when they're done with their other adventures, like Luffy's king of the pirates and decides to stop by Jaya at some point in time, and they're like sailing back through the Grand Line, and it's just like, let's go see Cricket again. Okay. I would love that. Maybe they can write a new children's book that explains Nolan, he was not a liar. Maybe we'll get that. And going into the Shandians and the Skypians, that would be the next group that I would like to see Luffy and the others re-interact with, with like Kanis and Pagia, and with Gonfall and Wiper and Rocky, because I really liked Rocky. She was the female Shandian that we interact with a lot. And then, Isa and everything. I would love, and like Nola, the giant snake and everything. I would love them to interact with them again and like get to see them again. Because it's just like, we get like the cover updates about them. Like, Wiper and his crew are now like, Gonfall's, royal guard type of thing. They're like the priests that protect Gonfall, who's, currently God. And, Gonfall and Pagia were, get along really well. And like Kanis and Rocky and Isa are all like best friends and everything. And, Nola's happy, the giant snake's happy because now she's like not alone anymore. And everything, like the Shandians and the Skypians are like actually now like getting along the way that they should. All that animosity is kind of, well, not gone, but they're fixing the mistakes of their past. So it's just like, we've seen that, and like we see that in the cover series and everything. Again, I would love it if they animated the cover series. That'd be great, but that's not going to happen. But, I would love that if like the Straw Hats went back to Sky Island, because you can't tell me that like Frankie doesn't want to go to a Sky Island. And I'm sure that, Frankie would love to go. Jinbei would probably love to go. Brook would probably love to go. If Yamato joins the crew, I'm sure Yamato would love to get to go to see a Sky Island, particularly the Sky Island that, like, Odin and Roger went to and everything. I'm sure that they would love that and everything. So it's just like, you can't tell me that they can't come up with another reason to go and visit the Sky Island, to go and visit, Skypiea again, and like go and see their friends that are there and everything. I always thought that would be a good idea. Like what they could have done is like, I don't know how the transponder snails would work up on Sky Island. Like, I don't know if that's like like if like the cloud density won't work for them to be able to communicate through that or something like that, because that would be like a decent explanation. So it's like, oh, the snails can't communicate through that, so you can't really like leave something up there for like to communicate back and forth. But like, as far as I'm aware, the Shandians and the Skypians, they don't get like the newspapers, like the news coups don't go up there as far as I'm aware. But we also know that like tone dials are sold that have music on them, so they have to get the tone dials somehow. So it's like because like Brooke has tone dials that have his songs on them that are like really really good high sellers and everything, and yet we don't know exactly whether or not how they get those tone dials. So there's at least something beyond just like go sit on that area of water, and eventually a giant geyser will send you into the sky. Then you have to ride that up to the sky. And then that'll take you into the clouds, and you won't fall. Ignore the ship that fell 3 days ago. That whole thing. And then but there's like the Mount of High West or whatever that Gonfall mentions at some point. But I would love to see them interact with him again. And like I think that like probably Wiper and the others have probably gotten to become even better fighters. Maybe Connis has learned how to fight a little bit more. I mean, like we see her handling like the bazooka gun at some point. When she's trying to get everyone to pay attention to her, listen to her to try to make them, actually like, I don't know, help. But like, I don't know exactly what else would happen with that. We know that Isa has like observation hockey, and we know that a lot of them have, because like Inaru had in his pre-sale had like the mantra of observation hockey and everything. Like Isa has that as well, and there's like a whole theory that like maybe Isa ties back into something with like one of the ancient weapons, which is a possibility. I mean, like darts at a wall will eventually hit something. Someone will land on something. But I would like the Straw Hats to go and see the Shandians again and everything. Like maybe take Cricket and like the brothers up there with them and everything, because like now like because they have the Thousand Sunny, that can withstand the the knock-up stream and everything much better than the Mary could. Frankie in Stampede, the Frankie even has it like outfitted to be able to deal with like a knock-up stream, so it's just like we've seen that. And I would like that to be like an actual thing that they have on the ship. I don't know if it is, but that would not surprise me if Frankie has like made the ship be able to deck out to like withstand using going up a knock-up stream. Like what happens in Stampede. But like, the Straw Hats, they go back up there, they take like Cricket with them, and like they get to like interact with the Skypians again and everything. That would be fun. Because we know that Luffy still cares about the Skypians and the Shandians, because when he interacted with Bellamy and everything in Dressrosa, Bellamy mentioned that he went to the Sky Island and everything, and Luffy was worried that like maybe Bellamy hurt like Wiper and Connis and such, and he's like, you better not have hurt them. And he's like, no, I didn't hurt them. I just told them I was your friend, and I took this giant gold column that they were going to give you, and I just took it with me, and I brought it here and gave it to Doflamingo, and he didn't kill me. I was just like, he brought me a giant pillar of gold. What do you want me to do? Yeah, go be a fighter. That's fine. So it's like gold. I was like, hey, I mean, I don't know. I was like, he disappointed me last time, but then he brought me a giant pillar of gold. What can I say? I don't know how he got the gold to Dressrosa, but okay. Next ones that we have that I do want to see, interactions with again for like reunions is Frankie with like Iceberg, Kokoro, and then Chimney, and then like the Frankie family and Galileo. Like I do want to see those interactions again, like because like we've watched the with the cover serials, we know that the we know that the Frankie family has like seen like Frankie and like his big like new the Frankie Shogun and everything. They've seen him in that, and it's just like, oh God, Frankie, what did you do? I think he turned himself into a bigger robot. It's just like, no, he's just inside the robot. But like, so we know that they do that and everything, so it's like they're at least somewhat aware, and we know that like the Kiwi and Mozu have like made like a bar out of like Luno's bar. They took that over, probably perfectly fine. I took that over. Like we know that like Lola and like her crew like stopped there at some point in time after. I know they went there after what happened in Thriller Bark, but I do not remember if that they were also their like post time skip or not. But they went there at some point in time, so it was like they've interacted. So it was just like, oh, you know the Straw Hats? Yeah, we know the Straw Hats. Yeah, they got our shadows back. What does that mean? Well, we got turned into zombies. you know, well, you know, we landed on this island, and this giant shadow man decided to take our shadows and shove them into zombies, and I got turned into a warthog. Just like the friends of the Straw Hats interacting with each other is just funny enough because we saw that at like Reverie and everything with like with like Rebecca and Vivi and Shirahoshi and everything, like we saw and like with Dalton and everything, all that interaction that we see like in the Reverie, like those interactions are fun. Just like seeing the allies meeting each other is kind of fun. But also when it comes to that, it's just like what other allies are the Straw Hats going to interact with, or like other allies meeting other allies. It's a fun thing to think about because it's just like well which ones would get along with each other and which ones wouldn't. But when it comes to, like Frankie, it's like Iceberg is the closest thing that he has to a brother. I went over that in the Brothers Day video. And of course he has, all the rest of the Frankie family and everything that are like his brothers, and like Mozu and Kiwi are the sisters and everything. So it's just like, those are Frankie's family. And like Kokoro is the closest thing that Frankie had to a mom. And then like Chimney, I don't know what Chimney would qualify as for like Frankie, because she's like Kokoro's granddaughter, so I don't know if that would qualify her as like maybe, I don't know, like maybe something between the lines of like a niece for like Frankie and Iceberg, but still. And then there's the giant sumo frog. Cannot remember the frog's name. But like Frankie going back to Water 7 and like seeing all of his family again and everything, like probably him and Iceberg getting into an argument of some kind because they always argue, would be just kind of fun. It's just like, oh good, he didn't turn himself into that giant robot. What the did you do to yourself, dude? Just like looking him over, it's like all his modifications anyway. Just like, dude, what did you do? Type thing. So there's that, which would be very interesting to watch. Just like see that happen, just see them like interact with each other. And I'm sure that like once everything's done and everything, like if Luffy does disband the crew at some point in time, like I'm sure Frankie will want to go back to Water 7 and like help make more improvements and everything. And also it would be just fun to see like the rest of the Straw Hats re-interact with like some of the Galley Law people again and everything, like see Polly and Lulu and Tilestone and everything. We know that, Khalifa and Kaku and, Lucci and everything that happened with that, it's just like they were, spies and everything. So it's just like they're not there anymore, obviously. But, just like seeing them interact with the other members of Galley Law and everything. And, just like, having, Kokoro would be happy to see Frankie again and everything. And like maybe Frankie can like tell her that he achieved his dream of, sailing the ship around the world and everything, kind of, continuing Tom's dream and everything. Maybe there's some of that. There's that whole thing. And I'm going to pop this in here now because it just popped into my head, but it is something that, kind of people have mentioned before. Just like, so canonically, as far as we are aware, Tom is dead. It was, made public news or whatever that like, oh, Tom died shortly after like he arrived at like Ennis Lobby, or like after he was put into Impel Down, he died. Now there's of course one side theory that like, no, Tom's not dead. They just like, they got him, whatever medical surgery was needed, and they like, removed, the spear from him and, got him all better and everything, like healed him up and everything somehow. They have Vegapunk. They can do a lot of things. How did they save his life? Vegapunk. Well, that's technically a legitimate answer, but that doesn't explain everything. So, okay. But, so it was just like, they Vegapunk fixed him or something. I would actually think that Tom and Vegapunk would actually get along really well. And we don't know, like, where Vegapunk is at the moment. But there's like this whole side theory that like, no, Tom's not dead, that like the world government, like they took him and they captured him. And then like they're trying to like get information out of him of like how to build Pluton, because like he had the blueprints for quite a while and he's probably looked them over multiple times. And there's the possibility that maybe he memorized the blueprint. So they're just like, oh, well, it's, if we get, we can get information out of Tom in order to build Pluton. And, that's the possibility. And if that is the case, that, like, maybe they did make Tom do that, like, he did build Pluton, hopefully made it with, like, a failsafe or something inside of it, something to, like, power it off or something if absolutely necessary. But, there's that whole theory that, like, if Tom is still alive, then maybe Frankie will find him at some point in time and, maybe find Tom and take him back and, like, reunite him with Kokoro and Iceberg as well, which is a possibility, but I don't necessarily see that happening. But that would be kind of good. But then it's also just like Tom's been, like, kind of being captive by the world government for the past however many years, and that's not fun. So yeah. Next interactions that I do want to see again is Nami and Lola again. I do want to see Nami and Lola interact again. We got kind of a payoff of this when we had, like, Nami interacting with, like, Chiffon in Totland. With, like, all of that, interaction that we see there with, like, oh, it's Chiffon. Nami finds out that Chiffon is, like, Lola's sister and everything. That Pound's her father, and, like, all this stuff. Like, we've kind of got, like, a payoff on that already a little bit. But I would like to see Nami and Lola interact with each other, and for Nami to find out that, like, Lola finally got married, because Lola married Gotti, of course, during the cover page for On My Beiji's On My Family. So there's, like, that whole thing. So I would love to see Nami get reunited with Lola and everything after everything that happened with Thriller Bark and all that, and get to see Chiffon again and everything, and see them happy, and, like, find out that both sisters are happy and both sisters are married and happily married and everything. And it's just like, well, we know that, well, last we knew Lola was in the New World, and there's the possibility that now, like, since, like, the two crews are kind of connected and everything between the Fire Tank Pirates and the Rolling Pirates, and now they're kind of connected because Lola and Chiffon being sisters, and then, of course, Lola having married Gotti. There's the whole thing of, well, are the two crews going to, like, travel together from now on? Are they going to become, like, a joint crew, the Rolling Fire Tank Pirates, maybe? I don't know. And just, like, have, like, I don't know, like, Capone and, like, Lola be, like, co-captains. I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't think Beiji's ego would let him do that, but it would make his wife happy, so maybe he would. But there's also just the whole thing of, like, Gotti will, like, leave the Fire Tank Pirates and go be with the Rolling Pirates is the other option for that. But, like, I wouldn't mind if, like, they showed up at, like, the end, at, like, the final battle to, like, help, or, like, one of the battles or whatever, like, help against, the Marines or Blackbeard's crew or something like that. It's just like, we have more of a debt to repay or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. That would be nice. I just want to see Lola and Nami interact again. That would be nice. Just so Nami knows that Lola finally got her bow. And then moving into the Sabaody section. So I'm putting Hachi and Kami in, like, with the new fit with the Fishman Island, so I'm putting them there. So I'm not going to talk about them right here. But I do have the Rosy Life Riders, which is, of course, Duval and his group. That, with Duval and his face looking like Sanji's original Wanted poster, and then, Sanji, like, kicking him until, like, his face goes pretty. And then, like, he just, like, oh god, he just, like, intends to flirt with everything. So, it was like, I don't necessarily super care about the Rosy Life Riders, but, they did stay and they helped guard the Thousand Sunny while the Straw Hats were all split apart for the 2 years. They stayed there and guarded the ship and everything. And, so they kind of, like, paid their debt back for, like, trying to take Kami and trying to, take Hachi and everything, like, for the problems they caused when the Straw Hats first interacted with them. So there's that. But, it's just like, I don't know, maybe see them interact with Sanji again would be one thing or something. I don't know, just to make Sanji suffer more, I guess. Have him and Duval interact again, that'd be funny. I mean, there's not like this huge thing. I was just like, oh, I really hope that we see Duval again. Duval was okay, but it's just like, he's in the vicinity possibly, and I don't think we've gotten any updates on Duval, even on, like, on the cover stories. I don't think we've gotten any updates on him as far as I'm aware. The last I think I saw, if I remember correctly, the last we saw of Duval, unless for some reason he popped up in Stampede and I didn't see him, was when he's like recovering at like Shaki's bar or something like that after like the crew spent like so long protecting the Thousand Sunny. Um, there's that whole thing, but it's just like that was as far as I'm aware the last time we saw them because I don't remember seeing them in any of the cover serials or anything like that for like any of the Decks of the World one. Unless I missed it, but I don't know. But then, of course, the other ones that we have at Sabaody are, of course, Rayleigh and Shaki. Rayleigh, of course, kind of being like Luffy's mentor for like the 2 years and everything, and Shaki having kind of helped like guard the Thousand Sunny during that time frame as well. And of course, we know that like during the whole time frame that like Luffy and Rayleigh were training on Ruskaina, that they probably had like a lot of conversations. I mean, Luffy's not that huge of like a let's talk about my past or like the stories of my crew and everything like that. I mean, I'm sure Luffy would be perfectly happy to like sit and tell Rayleigh like different stories from like his crew's journeys and everything like that. And maybe even Rayleigh told Luffy some stories from like Roger's journeys, not about what the One Piece was, but about like maybe just like other adventures that they had. Because they had like, they were on that island for like 18 months before Rayleigh went back to Sabaody because he taught Luffy everything he needs to know. Or everything that he can teach him in regards to using observation and armament and Conqueror's Haki. Or at least at that point in time, and now Luffy's, got the whole, kind of future sight going on and got the whole flowing Sakura, the Ryuo and everything. And, so it's just like, it would be also nice to see for Rayleigh to see how much progress Luffy has made as well with his Haki. That would also be very nice. And for them to see that progress made, to see that it's like all of his training efforts with Luffy did not go to waste. Well, he kind of already knows that they didn't go to waste with everything else that's happened, but it would just help like ensure that, Rayleigh has seen what Luffy has been able to do. I've seen some theories or something like that that's like maybe Rayleigh and Shaki will like show up at the final battle to help fight against either, Akainu because, Akainu killed Ace and Rayleigh may have learned via stuff with Luffy and everything that like Ace was Roger's son and everything that like maybe he's like, because I think I mentioned in like my aunt and uncle's video for One Piece that like Rayleigh is kind of like the closest thing to an uncle that like, Ace had or would have had Roger lived, a surrogate uncle type of a thing. And so there's like maybe like Rayleigh has like some like feels like he has some duty to help like avenge the death of his best friend's son. Maybe it's kind of where I was going with that. But when it comes to that would be nice to see, I guess, him show up and help with that or like help fight against Whitebeard or Blackbeard or whatever. So there's that, and I was just like, him having cockers, him and Luffy fighting against someone together, that'd be kind of fun to see, admittedly. Fully passing on, or like him and Zoro teaming up to fight against someone like the two co-captains or the two vice captains of the previous the previous Pirate King and the current wannabe Pirate King teaming up and fighting against someone together. That'd be kind of interesting to see. I don't know what Shaki would be doing with this, but it's like we don't know what Shaki did on a pirate crew before. Like, was she's strong? We know that. I would be surprised if she doesn't at least know armament and observation Haki. Don't know about Conqueror's Haki, but at least I'm sure Shaki knows armament and observation Haki. Particularly if there's a theory that she was on Rox's crew as well, which is a theory. I don't know how valid that theory is, but it's there. But there's. And she's also married to Rayleigh, and I was like, I would assume she would have like trained with him to just get stronger and enough herself to help protect herself on Sabaody and everything. She can handle herself fine, but still, that would be kind of interesting to see. But seeing Luffy re-interact with like Rayleigh would be nice, maybe just like having, because like Nami and Shaki got along fine, like Nami, Shaki really liked Chopper because it's just like, oh, he's so cute, here, have cotton candy. Was like her thing and everything, so it's she likes that and everything, so I wouldn't mind seeing them interact again. Like either the Straw Hats return to Sabaody at some point in time. after Luffy's Pirate King or something, and like they interact there with them, and just like catch up for a little while, and like they head off somewhere else, or Rayleigh and Shocky show up to help with like the final battle maybe, or something like that, or like they just show up randomly. Like I don't know, Boa shows up to help, and she has Shocky and Rayleigh with her because she knows Shocky and Rayleigh. That would be a good way of like bringing them in and everything, because we know that Shocky and Rayleigh have been keeping abreast of what's been going on with the Straw Hats and everything, like reading up on what's going on in the papers and everything, anything that comes up with like, oh, new bounties or like whatever else the Straw Hats have been doing. They may also know what happened on Marie's Wall, with possibly what happened with like Sabo and Vivi. They may have some like insight on that, and maybe they'll show up to help with that or something like that, particularly if the Straw Hats have to go back to the Red Line to go and deal with like what's going on there. But that's a whole after Wano thing, and we'll see what happens there. We'll see. So that's what I have for this video. Just it's little funny moments that I want to see the Straw Hats, or more poignant moments that I want to see the Straw Hats get reunited with friends or with family in some cases. With old allies and everything like that. Just, see them pop up again. I would love it if like the Shandians and the Skypians like showed up at one of the final battles and like helped the Straw Hats and everything. They got their tone dials and they're just like going off and like helping as much as they can and everything. That would have been nice. That would be nice, but I don't know how much more we're going to get caught up on with Skypiea. We'll see. So that's what I have. I thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you have a nice rest of your day. Bye! A chicken who doesn't have the guts to fight with fantasies like you should not be talking about how to be a pirate.